Hey Hunters, it's Steve. So today we're going to be working on a brand new project. So one thing that I pride myself on and I get a lot of compliments on is the quality of my homemade tombstones. Now I didn't teach myself how to make them, I did learn from another YouTuber. So the channel is called Scary Lady Videos and it's run by a woman named Terra. She's been making videos for a while. She's not currently active, but her videos are still a great resource. So I really love how simple her procedure is in making tombstones, and they always look really realistic, and her aging process is actually really simple. So here I have an example of a tombstone that I've made using her aging process and her whole technique, and I think they always come out looking fantastic. So in today's video, what I wanted to do is try applying that technique to something brand new that I've never tried before. So we're going to do a little bit of a different project. It's something I've never done before, and I think it turned out really great, and I think you guys will too. So for today's project, we're going to be making a stone tablet that's hanging from a lamppost. I make the whole thing look aged using the same technique that Terra uses. And we're going to start building this right now.
And here we go. So for starters, I'm just going to take a big piece of pink insulation foam. I use it for everything. It's amazing. And I printed out our little design that we made, and I'm just cutting it down to size. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a washable glue stick because it's purple and you can see where it goes. And also it's water soluble. That will be important later. So I'm just going to glue the crap out of this piece of paper and stick it on both sides. So this is going to be a double-sided sign. And then I'm going to use a Dremel to carve out the foam. So in here you can see the Dremel bit that I will be using for this part. And I'm just going to trace out the design here and go around the skinny little curly cues. And we're going to do inside the logo, just because those parts are really small and they take a long time. So now we're going to do the inside of each of the letters. That part becomes harder if you do the outside first, so we're going to do the delicate pieces in the beginning. And we're doing all of the stuff on both sides, so everything you see here is being done twice. And then now I'm tracing around the outside of the letters after we did the inside. And then I'm going to go around the outside of our border with a much larger bit. It's about a 1/2 inch bit. The other one was like really teeny. So now I'm just going to peel off all the extra paper that was left after we traced everything out. We don't really need the template anymore because we can see what we're doing. And then for all the little pieces that are still stuck on there, this is where the washable glue is important. So I'm just going to use a wet rag and I'm just going to wipe away the paper, and the glue will dissolve and so will the paper, so that way it's not permanently stuck there and in our way forever. Especially for the teeny pieces, it super helps a lot. So now I'm just going to go in and trace around all the parts that we didn't carve out with our skinny bit, and I'm just going to use the much thicker bit to just chunk out all that free space. You should probably wear a mask when you do this. I didn't have one. Oh well. And then now we're gonna paint. I'm using Dry Lock. It's masonry water sealer. It's basically thick latex paint with sand in it. It makes everything look like stone, and I love it. So I'm going to do one thick gloppy coat on top. And then I have to go in with a teeny brush and scoop out all the thick stuff that got in the little crevices. Just because it'll dry like that, and then all our hard work will be filled in with paint, and that's stupid. So I'm just slowly taking out glops of paint with a teeny little paintbrush and wiping it on a towel, which will get destroyed. Make sure it's not a towel you love. And then I'm doing a second coat, and I'm doing 2 coats on both sides, and each time I'm filling the cracks in with paint and then scooping it back out again. So for our next step, we are going to begin the aging process. So I am propping up our sign in between 2 jugs of water, and I have a spray bottle and some Dollar Tree paint. And we're just going to put a few drops of paint in there, and we're going to shake it up to make a light wash of paint. And we are just going to spray along the top and let the paint drip down. And then over time, these layers of washes will build up and create a fake stone look. So after each layer dries, we're going to add more paint to our spray bottle, and then we're going to shake it up again and then keep spraying. And I did about 6 or 7 layers on each side to get the effect that I wanted. So it's super important that you let each layer of wash dry before starting the next one, otherwise they'll just mix together and it won't look layered the way it's supposed to. Now I'm going to hammer in a 3.5 foot piece of PVC into my base. We're going to make sure that it doesn't extend past the bottom of the base so that it stands up on its own. This is a tiki torch base that I got at Lowe's. It was about $20 and it perfectly fits this PVC. Now I'm going to cut a second piece to hang out of the side, and that is 1.5 feet. I'm going to use this PVC T to connect them together, so I'm just going to hammer that onto the short piece. And then we're going to attach it to the long piece. And next we're going to use my favorite building material of all time, hot glue, and I'm just going to fill in the crack because it's not a perfectly round hole and I had to hammer the PVC in there pretty hard to get it to fit. So the glue is just going to hold it into place. Then we're going to use screws to lock the 2 pieces to the PVC T. Drilling a pilot hole is easier. I didn't do that the first time, but you should do it when you try it. So here's the lamp that I'm going to be using on top of the lamppost. I got it at Lowe's. It was about $5. It comes apart. There's a little LED inside that I won't be using, and this is the stake that it sticks into. So we are just going to be cutting that down to a much smaller size so that we can just fit it in the top of our PVC lamppost. So I'm just going to cut that down, and then I'm going to hammer it inside the top. The lip that keeps the PVC from going all the way is actually the perfect size to hold that up, and we're just going to fill it in with hot glue to hold it in place. So next I'm going to be painting the PVC with the gray Drylock paint, the same paint that we use for the sign, and I'm going to be doing 2 coats. It's very important to wait for it to dry, otherwise it'll peel off, and this will also act as a primer for our spray paint. And you can see my lovely face here. And I'm just going to spray paint with some pattern paint that I got at the store, and I'm going to do 2 coats on everything. And make sure you do what I did and wear clothes that you don't want to get paint on so that they get paint on them and then you get upset while you're doing your 2 coats of spray paint. And I spray painted the base so that it would be the same color as everything else, and it came out pretty good. So now I'm going to be marking on the top of the sign and on the post for where I want our eye hooks to go. So I'm just going to drill a hole and then put 2 eye hooks in the top, and I'm going to cement them in with Gorilla Glue, which will ruin anything it touches, so make sure that you don't get it on anything. And then once it's dry, I'm just going to paint it gray to match the sign. Then I'm going to be drilling holes under the lamppost to put 2 more eye hooks in the bottom. And next I got 2 bike locks from Dollar Tree, and I'm just cutting off the lock and then pulling off the rubber sleeve, so I have $2 worth of chain. And I'm going to be cutting them down to size, and then on each of the end I'm going to be using pliers to pry them open so that the chain is open and we can get it around our eye hook. So I'm going to do that on the top and bottom of each piece of chain so that I can just close it back with pliers and then lock it into place. So we don't have to use glue, and also I don't know how to weld and I'm not going to learn. And I'm just going to attach the chains to the lamppost. In hindsight, I probably should have done this in reverse order and attached it to the sign, but I still had some painting to do. Next, I'm going to be doing another wash of paint, but I'm going to be using a white paint this time, and I'm going to spray it all over the lamppost and then let that dry, and I only did 1 coat. Then on the lamp itself, I'm going to take it apart, clean the white paint off of the acrylic enclosure, and I'm just going to put some darker paint on there just to make it look aged. Then on the lid of the lamppost, I'm just going to attach some tin foil, and then put it on the top so that when the candle is shining, it will reflect off the top of the lid. After filling in the cracks with some dark paint, I went through and I stipple brushed some darker paint into the recessed area around the letters, just to give the whole sign some dimension. And I thought that looked pretty good. And now for the most important part of the aging process, we are going to be dry brushing white paint over the surface of the whole sign. What that's going to do is just paint the raised edges, and it's going to make it look exactly like stone. Without this step, it just doesn't work. But this step actually creates the illusion that it is real stone, and it's my favorite part. So you can see how good it looks there. Next I'm going to be gluing some moss that I got at Dollar Tree into some corners and on top of the letters, and then I'm just going to be painting with green acrylic paint around it, just to give it the effect of like lichen and plants growing on it, and it just looks so cool. And I flipped it over and I did all these steps on both sides of the sign. Don't forget, the sign is double-sided and every step you see has been repeated twice. And now we are just going to attach the sign to our chain, the same way we attach the chain to the lamppost in the beginning. And after the sign, I just went back to the lamppost and added some green moss all over the place with hot glue and some more green acrylic paint, the same way that we did with the sign. And I added this bird that I got from Michael's to the end of it with some hot glue and filled in the hole of the PVC with some moss. And I got these book lights from the Dollar Tree and I painted them to look the same as the lamppost and hot glued them on. And these are going to be used to light up the sign when it's dark outside, and they worked really well. I was actually really happy about that. And that about does it. Guys, I am so happy with how this turned out. It looks creepy and disgusting and beautiful and amazing all at the same time. If you're interested, I'm going to post a link to one of Terra's videos in the description so you can see how she makes her tombstones and learn more about the process.
Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think it came out really great. It took a little longer than expected to make, but I think it was well worth it. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you tell me in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe. You have options. If you didn't like the video, don't tell me because it'll hurt my feelings. Thanks so much guys, and happy haunting.